either live by the gun or you die by the sword.
Welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Weird MicroViews. I'm Nicho.
And I'm Chris.
And we are doing another kind of Jackie Chan movie today.
I won't lie, this is my sort of movie, Nicho.
I know, this is exactly why I wanted us to do this one.
This movie was one of my favorites we've done in a while.
We are doing 2019's Iron Mask, also known as V2 Journey to China, I believe?
Also known as The Iron Mask, also known as Mystery of the Dragon Seal, or The Dragon Seal.
Yeah.
Depending on what country you're in.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't really get why it's called Iron Mask, just because there's only one mask and it's barely in this movie, and I think it's just a cool name to like try and like get you in of like, oh, it's Iron Mask and it's starring Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, or not Bruce Lee.
Not Bruce Lee, he's dead.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, according to the cover of this.
Yeah, I won't lie. Jackie Chan, despite wearing like the full get-up wig and like they went heavy on the wigs and costumes in this movie. Whoever the wig department was, I hope they all got bonuses and raises. So much wigs. I loved them all. Arnold Schwarzenegger's wig person went too hard, and I didn't notice who it was until, like, several minutes of him being on screen. Like, I knew he was in it because his name's on the front of the box, but I didn't register that person was Arnold Schwarzenegger until his mouth opened. And even then, I kind of missed it because the version I watched was all dubbed over.
Yeah, no, that's the only version we can get here. It's the same with and by the way, this is a sequel.
It is.
There's a prequel, there's a first movie called V, which is a remake of a Russian novel. There's a much, much better adaptation from, like, I think the 50s, I want to say, that's in all the Haunt Hours, so.
Yeah, I mean.
But you got a good recap in the first 10 minutes, so.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that the 3 movies in this genre.
Soon to be third. The third one hasn't been released yet.
Came out last year, apparently. Not to us.
Yeah.
We don't get to watch it. Someone else has enjoyed it.
I saw it was still post-production, so it's...
I found one person said it was released last year, but again, not to us. We don't get to watch it.
Makes
so maybe
sense.
this year. But yeah, I don't know if this is one of those series you need to see all of them for them to connect.
No.
This felt very standalone.
Yeah, and Iron Mask is written by Oleg Stepchenko, Dmitry Paltsev, and Alexei A. Petrukin.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real bad with the names on this one, I won't lie.
Yeah, and it's directed by Stepchenko.
Yeah, who the only thing I knew him for was Forbidden Kingdom.
Which is the prequel.
Which is...
Yeah, that's right.
The other one.
They rename each of these movies when they come to the U.S.
Yeah, which is the other one I watched for this review.
Yeah. I'm surprised you watched it, but okay.
Look, I didn't have a whole lot to do today.
Despite the cover stating that it stars Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger, it actually
they're barely in this.
It's in the credits, special performance by.
That makes much more sense, because the people who are actually the main focus of this movie are not actually Jackie Chan or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that's Jason Fleming as Jonathan Green.
Yeah, an interesting surprise.
The only Brit in this movie.
Yeah, well, there's a reason.
Our main Brit. I think one of the dudes from like Game of Thrones is in this movie too.
There's a lot of people, and I feel like I was supposed to know a lot more of these people, and I didn't.
Yep.
Sorry.
Xing Tong Yao as Chang Lon. Mm-hmm. Anna Shurina as Miss Dudley.
A great name.
And the movie is about a cartographer, Jonathan Green, being forced into China on his mapping expedition, where he must face an evil two-faced witch and save the Dragon of China.
And that definition of this movie does not encapsulate both the ridiculous technology, the horrible CGI monsters and creatures, the over-the-top stunts. This is a kung fu movie that has the gravity makes no sense rules, which we know. That's my jam. This is my vibe. And so all of these things come together with guest stars of 2 of my favorite actors. I love this movie. It might be going on my shelf.
Not to mention, it is a very heavily Chinese and Russian propaganda film, because this is a joint country film.
It's not even that subtle.
No.
It's not as egregious as movies we will talk about later, but it is heavy-handed on the slanderism of England.
Yeah, at least with like Hidden Kingdom it was, or Forbidden Kingdom.
Forbidden Kingdom, it was a little bit, more.
Yeah, the biggest thing is Jonathan Green is this bumbling cartographer who's exploring the world.
And the way that they make him the like scientific genius, because this is like, it's not a true steampunk era styled kung fu, which is my favorite subgenre. But this is adjacent because they have that character mapping the world via a large wheel on the back of his carriage.
Yeah, it does.
He's essentially got a rolly wheel stick that I use for work occasionally.
Yeah, but he can do it much faster and in much more detail because the wheel's big.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, it's not even a steampunk. Like, at least for the first...
it's not truly there, but the elements...
It's more like that Industrial Revolution fantasy is more so what the first half of this movie, yes, I would say.
First half, and then it fully transitions to CGI Kung Fu movie.
Kung Fu... electro-punk, kind of?
There is, and then there's and the other main setting that is, honestly, for me, a selling point to this movie is the prison system, which heavily resembles one of the Riddick movies, where the prison's a vertical shaft, and you have to fight your way out.
Yes.
And the way out is a stupid, insane way, which, in Riddick was a chain that they lowered you up and down on. And in this one, it's a set of foldy stairs that like tilt back and forth like they're supposed to go to your attic.
Yeah.
And it clearly, the only reason these stairs are here is because someone went, what if we had Jackie Chan fight on a teeter-totter?
Yeah.
And they worked it into the movie.
No, exactly. And that's like, there are some bits of gold within this movie.
And this is how you know that this movie is truly garbage and like not actually good, and I just happen to love all these elements. I described this movie in detail to my husband, and I asked, do you want me to keep the DVD for another week so that you have a chance to watch this one too? And he went, I think I'll pass.
Fun fact, he's already seen it.
He doesn't know he's seen it. That's how hard it is to describe this movie.
We watched it for Lads Night like 3 years ago when I picked this up at a used movie store because it had Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger on the front.
And I even told him who's in it. I described the movie to him, and I feel like I was fairly detailed about my description of the movie. Like, I walked this man through the plot, and he has no memory of seeing this movie. Yeah. But also doesn't want to see it.
I don't. It's not a movie for
I don't blame him either. This movie is for me. I might borrow it again for tomorrow for girls' night, because that's who this movie's for.
Do it. I don't blame you. But, and again, back to the cast just a little bit. It's the only person I recognize in this movie is a couple Russian guys because they're from the first movie.
Yeah, there's two people I think who reprise their roles, Jason Fleming and Charles Dance. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone else is new. I think. Honestly, kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Chinese cast and crew, most of them are in Chinese films or, and my knowledge is Hong Kong Kung Fu movies, so completely different worlds.
And don't get me wrong, this is a genre I love. But with the exception of, like, maybe a handful of people and actors, most people end up just being a background guy, and I probably have seen you before. It's just all the movies start to look the same after about the third one.
Exactly. And yeah, so Iron Mask, I do like how heavy-handed it is from the get-go, so you kind of know what you're getting into. It's
so brutal.
We didn't realize it, like, until about halfway through the movie, and that was just because, like, we were kind of taken aback where the movie was going, and we weren't 100% sure, like, what type of movie it was going to be. We just thought it was like, oh, it's a martial arts movie, with, like, the whole explanation of the mythical dragon, and the glory of the tea coming from its eyelids, or eyelashes.
Which, okay, I get partially the eyelashes thing. The CGI dragon eyelashes, which they then later used to steer and swing from the dragon, did gross me out just a little bit. Because part of the reason the dragon is ever defeated is because they stopped trimming his eyelashes. I'm sorry. What? No.
Hey, they're like a bird. You put a cage over their eyes, It's nighttime. They're asleep.
Sure, I could accept that, but like you're telling me dragon eyelashes are like rabbit teeth? They just keep growing unless you trim them?
I guess so. I know very little about Chinese mythology, so I don't know if
I don't know anything about dragon eyelashes, don't get me wrong. Maybe this is like a common knowledge thing and I'm the idiot here, but I just assumed that like eyelash mythology would follow other real life examples of eyelashes, and I don't think there is a creature on this planet whose eyelashes continue to grow forever.
There might be a Junji Ito thing.
That's not a real life thing. That's Junji Ito.
Dragons aren't real either.
Okay.
It's mythology, Chris.
I usually root it in real life, in some version.
Well, it explains why there's healing tea in the world and why the Black Wizards betrayed the dragon with the two-faced witch. The evils of greed and capitalism.
I do like the witch's two-facedness because they take it very literally. She has little fleshy masks floating in a dish that she just mushes onto her face. Mm-hmm. And I think that was kind of cool.
Oh, no. I think like I said, there are some really cool bits to this movie. Like the Two-Faced Witch, like the Black Wizards. The Black Wizards are probably some of the coolest bad guys I've seen in movie in a while.
They are pretty cool. And I know I've already bitched once about the wigs, but I want to hammer home. They are egregious wigs because we are making active fun of, like, Victorian English wigs, where, like, the poofy powder wig, where normally we tone them down in movies because we all know they look stupid. This movie took the opposite route. They went bigger, they went fuller. These men have full perms on their wigs. Several of them take the wig off to wash their face and then put their sweaty ass wig back on. Yep. Love that touch. But I want to iterate that I have watched many other kung fu films where I can actively see people's wig lines. And the budget was much higher than this film. Mm-hmm. And this film, despite the fact that I should have seen many wig lines, I didn't see a one.
I wasn't paying that close attention.
It is my new hobby. It's my new take a shot if. And I will tell you, were the wigs over the top? Yes. Was everyone's hair and costume on point? Perfectly done. The CGI, little rough, hurt my eyes sometimes. Yeah. But the costuming was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I did for a period piece, it's like one of those ones where, like, I don't really care.
And so it's such a fantasy period piece that they, like, really took it in the perfect direction. This whole movie's entire point is to make fun of the British, and it does it in every way they can.
Yeah, at one point in one of the Russian prisons, and so here's the thing too, it does also kind of poke fun at the Russians just a little bit, but only in the areas that are like have the American influence, or not American, English influence. Yeah, because at one point in the Russian prison, there's like a group of them riding like a sled through mud that's pulled by hogs.
Yeah, we don't question that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also love that this movie was clearly such a joint effort to, like, bring two countries together in, like, their hatred of another country, which we can all trauma bond. That's fine. But also, they try very hard on multiple scenes to, like, draw a similarity between Russian dancing, where you do the little squat kicking, and kung fu. There's multiple instances in this movie where either in a fight scene, they have a Russian guy do a little Russian dance in place of kung fu while fighting's happening. Or you'll be like, they'll like panning through and like the Russian dudes and the Chinese dudes are bonding over their ability to squat kick.
Yeah. And
I'm like, you know what? Cool.
Yeah. Well, and that's the interesting push and play with that too, because there was a character in it that is disguised as a boy, but oh no, it's a girl.
And it's not even like a little bit, like you don't even have to wait to find out. You look at that character, you go, you're suspicious. And then literally the next scene, they're like, it's a girl the whole time. You're like, yeah, I kind of figured.
Oh yeah, but they got that like one little bit where it's the martial art is greater than the stick-wielding Russian peasants.
Yes.
So it's like, it's got that little bit, but like, that's where like the physics start to get really weird, especially with like throwing the umbrella and it bouncing off the dude right back to them.
Again, this is one of those movies, granted, the physics aren't as moon space bouncy as like other films. Like everyone's fairly heavy. No one's flying over a building too often. The very end of this movie gets real funky. Once the dragon shows up, all rules go out the window. Don't ignore everything I've said.
Not even when the dragon shows up. It's when they start invading the palace with the or the keep with their tri-umbrella
That's true.
contraptions that somehow magically are able to raise and lower like they're goddamn airbenders.
That is true. I did forget about that part.
But it's fun though.
It is so fun because it's another one of those like almost steampunk inventions where it's too simple to actually be steampunk. It's not even really revolutionary style either. It's just stupid invention. And the way it's like mishmashed together just kind of has the same soul as the dumb steampunk movies.
Yeah.
Where like, okay, this thing never possibly would work, but I like it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter. The background people in this movie feel like either they are, you know, they're in a lot of movies, they're like well-rehearsed background person, or they are truly someone pulled fully off the street and told, hey, you are now a rice peasant. Stand over here, and you're going to watch people fly out of your field off of umbrellas.
There's one part where they go to the inn to collect the peasants' money and when they're in China.
Yeah.
And the music is going, and the people in the background aren't even moving their hands.
It's
They're just like
so
strumming,
bad.
and it's just so piss poor.
Oh, this movie is such a fun time, though, because you truly do not know where this movie is going at any moment. Every single time any character is on scene, it is an opportunity for a whole new plot point to be brought up, a whole new character to be made up. The web of connections that eventually happen of like, oh, this person's engaged to this person and they're looking for this person, but that person saved this person.
All because Jonathan Green is that rogue cartographer who imprisoned or impregnated a lord's daughter.
Oh my god, and he's such an idiot. He's the most idiot Englishman to have ever been written. It's amazing. And then on top of all of that, having at least 4 guys who I actively recognize on screen, who I know speak English at this point in time, because this movie came out in 2019, speak English well enough to perform on screen regularly in that language, be dubbed over, and not even dubbed over like, oh, they said their lines and then they dubbed it because everyone else didn't speak English. I have no idea what the original line was supposed to be.
Yeah, and like on top of that, like some of the voice acting is really, really bad.
It's really bad.
Specifically looking at the Two-Face Witch's assistant guy.
Yeah, there's multiple, and like whoever did the dubbing for this movie took into no account into the actors. Because there was no effort made to sound at all like Jackie Chan or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, it's both of them.
But neither of them sound the same.
Yeah, they do.
I don't disagree.
I can tell you, those are the only ones who didn't have someone else dub over them. Why would you need to if it's all in English?
Okay, that's the part I didn't understand, because they're not the only ones who speak English on this cast list.
Yeah, no.
By like a long shot, but they were the only 2 who I actively could believe that said their own lines.
Yeah, no.
But they were also dubbed over.
Them and Fleming, which, that's the thing. I do wonder. So you bring that up, but like maybe Jackie Chan had dubbed some of his lines over, but it's actually him dubbing it then.
Yeah, I could believe that it is Jackie Chan and Arnold dubbing their own lines, but their lips do not match what words are happening on screen. Which means they either dubbed their own lines or someone dubbed them for them and like just kind of went with it, which does bring into question like the original like dialogue of this movie, because I do feel like there's a lot of jokes that just are not bothered to be translated.
No, not at all. But yeah, that's the thing with like how the level of detail in this is kind of weird, because one, the prison system that we enjoy is supposed to be the Tower of London.
True.
And I get where they're trying to like tie in some of the history of like the man with the iron mask. That's why Tsar Peter Peter the First has a mask, which honestly, I went down a little rabbit hole of Peter the Great.
Good for you. I learned about him in school and forgot.
I did not know he was 6'8".
Yeah, damn.
They actually did some, like, there was a couple shots in the movie
Man's
of, like,
huge.
when they're in China, and the dude is, like, quite a bit taller than them, and I'm like, how tall was this guy? Is this just the actor, or are they trying to do something? And it's like, no, dude was a tall guy.
Dang. Yeah, I did not know he was that tall. I mean, I briefly learned about him, but I didn't feel like this movie tried very hard to make him historically accurate in any way, since they have him doing everything but history.
Yeah, no, it's such a weird, like, it's a weird person to, like, have as the kind of side Russian protagonist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, for reasons not really explained, but just for funsy, Martin Kelba is in this movie. He's the actor and dwarf performer who was, you probably recognize him from Pirates of the Caribbean. He's in here, and he plays a major-ish role. He's like one of the bigger side characters.
Yeah.
For no, like, why does this character exist?
Paycheck. I
mean, good for him. Get that money, man, but... Yeah, there's, like, a lot of people in here who, like, now that I'm truly sitting down and thinking about it, I'm like, man, I do know you.
Yeah.
Why are you here? For a Russian-Chinese together movie.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand some of the people on this list because, get that bank. I also know that you've done these movies before, and you know what? Good for you. Do whatever makes you happy and, like, not fired.
Yeah.
But also some of these guys, like... Why are you here?
Charles Dance, for example.
Yeah, why is Charles Dance in this movie?
Like I said, it's probably a paycheck for most of these people.
Yeah, good for him.
Because they're barely in the movie, too. That's the
thing.
He
is barely in this movie.
And he's like, in the first one, he's only there for, like, maybe 2 minutes of the entire movie.
And he's one of the only recurring characters.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's the father of the impregnated woman, and he hates that Jonathan Green is... the father of his grandchild, even though he's doting on the grandchild the whole time.
Yeah, this movie's a wild ride. I enjoyed the absolute hell out of it, but like, I was very confused.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. It is really all over the place because like I didn't even try doing any history digging.
I gave a very light go at it, and unlike other more clear propaganda-esque films, there's at least like someone of like historical importance or current importance that like I can like get caught up on, or like a movement that I wasn't aware of. This one really was just like, hey, what if Russia and China were buddies? Do you want to laugh at the British? Yeah. And several British actors were like, yeah, what if we were in the movie?
Well, I do wonder if they signed up knowing exactly what it was, or if it's just like, oh, it's a role, it's money.
I mean, this movie is wild and crazy enough that like it's really not even that atrocious or like in your face about it. It's just a silly movie.
Yeah, it's got some other like really weird moments too, like the big prison fight with or at least not the big one, but with Schwarzenegger and the other 3 Chinese prisoners. That's not the girl and not Jackie Chan.
Yeah, the 3 brothers ?
Where he fights them. One of them is about to get his freedom, and they're going to shoot him. He's like, no, this man has earned his freedom. And they drops down to fight him again. He's like, we will all leave together or we will stay in prison. And he's like, yes, I acknowledge your great prowess. All 3 of you may leave. And it's like, what is this prison system to like ever exist?
This prison's so stupid. And like and I say a lot of jokes didn't get translated. And I do believe that because the moments of humor that did get translated well are truly hilarious. The moment with Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger fighting, and Arnold keeps telling him, no, don't take that. It's a prized possession. Don't take that. It's a historical artifact. Was very funny. Like, their fight together worked really well. It was well choreographed, especially for both of their ages. Like, Arnold hasn't done action films for a while.
The stupid Englishman not understanding that someone gave him a fake relic. It made me think a little bit of, like, how some of the plot lines of Gilgamesh and Final Fantasy come together.
Yeah, a little bit. And, I don't know, like, I had a great time with this movie. I honestly, though, don't know what role it's supposed to be fulfilling, because it is fantasy adventure, but also kung fu, and also weirdly adjacent steampunk, and like it's a lot of things all the time.
Yeah,
there's no time for breathing. In fact, the only like pause in action really of this film is the literal last scene where Jackie Chan shows us the great dragon is everywhere.
Yeah.
They CGI'd the dragon into the mountains and the water and the sky, and it's like God.
Yeah, no, that whole line, because, like, they're out of the movie. At least Schwarzenegger is out for, like, a good hour and a half by that point, and Chan is out for, like, an hour, because he does have a little bit at the end where...
He does, but he's not even on the same set as everyone else. He's locked in prison still. Well,
and he's like, come to China, I'll show you everything. And he's like, love is the true power, which...
I love that, though.
I have a question for you.
So funny.
Because everyone gets pissy about friendship in anime as, like, being the true power.
They do, yeah.
What's worse? Love or friendship being the answer to the end of a great journey like that?
Oh, okay, here's the thing, is this is almost a Jackie Chan trope at this point, because the number of stupid kung fu-esque movies that he's done where friendship that we made along the way was the true treasure all along. If I had a nickel, I'd at least have $1 at this point, and that's too many times.
Yeah.
And I think it's just one of those stupid kung fu tropes where, like, maybe at one point it was taken, you know, one movie did it seriously, everyone made fun of them, and now we've accidentally done a trope on it, kind of the same way anime did, where, like, one did it for realsies and everyone made fun of them, and now it's actually the plot of most anime.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, whether or not you like it, it's kind of the plot.
Yeah, I can see that.
I feel like that's what's happened here, because, yeah, like, this movie really had nothing to do with, like, actual friendship or anything. It was really just a wild journey, and yeah, the last line's essentially like, yeah, come over to my house, we'll hang out.
Yeah, and look at China. China's so great. Look how beautiful our CGI China is.
Also, it's not even China, it's just this random island.
Yeah.
Not even like a descript island of where it is either, it's just somewhere.
But I do have some questions about, like, the power of the dragon, because part of this movie, like, the big plot is, like, the two-faced witch wants the medallion
to control the dragon.
Yeah, to control the dragon.
But the real princess, which, by the way, there's a princess in this movie.
Yeah.
She controls the dragon.
No, that's the thing. She doesn't. She doesn't at all,
because,
because, like,
control the dragon.
At the end, the master is controlling the dragon from England.
Prison.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course the master's Jackie Chan, because who else would it be? Also, they tell you from the literal beginning that Jackie Chan is the master of the dragon.
Yeah. His name is the Master.
The Master is literally his title. And this movie manages to gaslight you so hard that you do forget that, oh yeah, this princess that we learn about halfway through, she could rule the dragon. You're like, no, but we already know about the guy who can. Mm-hmm. He's in prison.
Yeah. No.
But it doesn't matter because he just controls the dragon from prison because it's remote control dragon.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. The range on this thing's really good.
Well, and they try and explain it away with the reason the Two-Faced Witch can't control the dragon is because the dragon knows what's truly in the heart, and it'll only obey someone with a pure heart of some bullshit.
But it doesn't even work out because, okay, the dragon's destruction is really limited to, like, some walls and...
killing the Two-Faced Witch.
Killing one person. So the dragon breaks some walls, kills a singular person, and takes out a gold balloon.
Sorry, it doesn't kill her. She falls.
She kills herself.
And she tries getting it to save her. And it doesn't.
So I would argue that he doesn't even kill the witch. Yeah, so this dragon really does minimal things.
Yeah.
Which, you know, for being remote controlled from Russia by Jackie Chan in a prison is pretty good.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't really understand the dragon either. Like, the whole fight scene didn't make any sense.
The fight up until then's the cool part where the witch is fighting the Two-Faced, or the Two-Faced Witch is fighting the princess and shit.
Yeah, and, like, it's a clever kung fu scene. The fight choreography's pretty good. You know, it's action-packed. It's not terribly, you know, strung with wires. It looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. I would argue that even the dragon, as gross as he kind of looks, is really not that bad compared to other kung fu dragons I watched, even this year. So, like, I'll give him a pass.
Yeah.
I don't like him, but he can stay, I guess.
He's fine.
It's not my favorite design. The eyelashes are real grody.
Yeah. But cool design, though. Two-Faced Witch.
Very cool.
The eye candy of this movie is...
It's very good. It's very good.
That's why I'm a little disappointed that the rest of their movies aren't really available to us, but...
I feel that, yeah.
But they do, like, a good job of making the Two-Faced Witch very seductive to Peter the First. Mm-hmm. But more so, the designs of the Black Wizards.
Yeah, pretty good.
All feel unique and iconic, but at the same time, when you're watching it, you're like, okay, cool, and then you find out that they're powered by electricity.
Again, almost steampunk.
Here, that's why I'm saying electropunk. High tech, low life.
So close.
Also,
it's so close.
What does it symbolize?
The ways of our ancestors powering over the new technology.
Science being used for evil capitalism.
I mean, yeah, no, there's definitely that happening in this film, which does make it interesting that, like, there is, again, so close to being science punk or steampunk adjacent. Like, it's very close. And yet, like, barely touches it. So, like, I feel like this movie could have maybe leaned in a little harder on it. And just a little bit to, like, really send that message home.
Okay.
Because the wizards are almost just magic. That's how little the doodads that power them really are impactful.
Yeah, so, and, like, the biggest secret is, like, the evil doers are wearing earplugs, and that's, like, their biggest...
I mean, earplugs are, I guess, a recent invention.
But here's the thing. I think the reason they didn't go that far is because, one, they 100% were making this so that way they could market it overseas.
Oh, 100%.
And on top of that, they don't want the message to be too strong to off-put an American audience, but just strong enough to keep those interested.
Very true. And truthfully, when you boil this movie down, despite all of the other nonsense, which I like about a movie, this truly is a fantasy kung fu. And steampunk generally doesn't fit in super well with those. It's pretty rare that, like, it makes it, and the movies that do have it usually don't do very well, even in, like, China or Hong Kong. Usually they just don't perform super well. People aren't, like, crazy into them. So I see why they didn't lean into it hard. This movie already is, like, trying super hard to do a lot of stuff. And, like, it didn't really have, like, a huge budget, kind of around $48 million. So, you know, it's a lot of money, but most of that went to CGI. Yeah. And wigs.
Probably Jackie Chan and Schwarzenegger,
and, like,
too.
Yeah, like, maybe half of that was just their budget. Was just Jackie Chan budget, so, like... Yeah. No, it's just one of those movies where, like, it's fun, but, like, trying to dig into it, it's just, like, so all over the place that it's really hard to, like... It's definitely one that I would recommend shutting your brain off to and just 100%. Enjoying it for what it is. Especially, like, when it gets to the paragliding, like, Mario Kart umbrellas. Yeah, do not... This is the definition of one of the, like, super fantasy kung fu movies. The plot doesn't make any sense. The relationships between people barely make any sense. None of the, like, language even makes sense half the time. But don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
No, exactly. So, Chris, rent, buy, stream, or decline that we ever watched it despite having an audio recording of us watching Iron Mask.
I think most people should stream this. It's fun, it's silly. I know it's not currently available for streaming. It's currently just available for renting, and it's like a $4 rent fee, which is maybe a little steep for most people.
Yeah.
I think for me, if you are in the fandom that I am in of stupid kung fu movies, fantasy kung fu movies especially, this movie's a great time if you're that fandom. At that point, buy it. This is a fun time. But you're not getting any special features. You're not, like, getting any, like, benefits from owning the DVD, at least the copy we got our hands on. So, you know, take that into account.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. I say stream just for the sheer stupidity and fun that this movie has at times.
It truly is stupid.
But don't pay money for it. It's cheesy and has some fun moments, but God, it is an absolute mess. Oh, we also forgot to talk about the one little demon that carried over from Forbidden Empire that, like,
he shouldn't exist.
Yeah, he's in, like, 3 scenes.
He's terribly made, he's barely used, and they try and pull the whole, oh, the sad side character creature got shot. And you're like, I don't even think it has a name. Yeah,
it does have a name, but it's also the same thing with, like, the reason they start rebelling is, like, they're gonna take an old man prisoner. And it fails, and the old man dies anyway.
Yeah,
it's
that's true. Yeah, nope. Yeah, I forgot that creature was in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there it is. Iron Masker V2, Journey to China.
Yeah, I don't know. Watch it if you like Kung Fu.
Yeah, and like we said, there is a third V movie coming out.
Hopefully we will get it soon. From what I could find, it does not exist for the English-speaking world just yet.
But it is heading, much like us, to India for our next block of episodes.
That is true. That's where the next one is set. So,
which I am very curious how that's going to work.
I am too, because I think this could be the collaboration of my lifetime.
Yeah, it's such a weird movie of, like, a rogue cartographer of all things.
That's true. But honestly, what a smart way to have a series just keeps going.
Yeah, what else can he explore? He can't ever go back to England.
Nope, he's already mapped all of it.
Nope. Which, I don't know. Maybe we'll see him go to, like...
Thailand. Japan.
Doubt that.
Korea. South Africa.
Who knows?
The world's his oyster with his stupid little cart.
By this point, probably Antarctica next.
I would pay money.
Or Australia.
That would be even better. He could fight the Australian outback creatures.
The emu war.
I mean, the kangaroo versus Jackie Chan might be entertaining. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, no. Bring in the guy who plays Crocodile Dundee as someone else.
God, they hate that movie. I hope you know that.
I know.
Okay.
They're the tropical Irish.
Well, you're not wrong.
But, anywho, this has been the Good, the Bad, and the Weird MicroViews.
Thanks for listening.
Peace. Thank you for stopping by this here town of the good, the bad, and the weird. We appreciate your listenership, and if you want more of our takes in your life, feel free to check us out on social media at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, or TGTBTW for short. As well, if we missed a fact, your favorite part of a movie, or just have a suggestion and want to reach out and say howdy, feel free to email us at tgtbtwpodcast@gmail.com. And feel free to join our Discord at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, where we talk about movies, just share random banter here and there. And always, check out our podcasters, streamers, or any other content creator we shout out in our episodes. We really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for listening. Peace.